Okay, so just as we've looked at this, it's important to now look at, well, what is being oxidized, what is being reduced? Because whenever we know what is being oxidized, then we can deduce what is the reducing agent. Whatever is being oxidized, that is the reducing agent. Whatever is being reduced is our oxidizing agent. So here what we have is H2 going to a charge of +1. So H plus an electron. This right here, in order for that to be produced, or sorry, in order to this to become this had to lose an electron. So that got oxidized. Therefore, it is the reducing agent. Now, in the reaction between an acid and a metal, we have a solid metal. That's in its elemental form. What's the charge of something in its elemental form? That's right, 0. Okay. Now it becomes +2. So what that means is that this metal went from 0 to +2. In order to do that, it lost 2 electrons. Okay, so this magnesium lost 2 electrons. Therefore, this H plus gained electrons. So Mg got oxidized, got oxed, we'll say, got reduced. So then, which is oxidized? Well, magnesium is oxidized. If H plus is reduced, that means it is the oxidizing agent. Next question, we've got the same sort of thing. No charge to a positive charge. In order to do that, it loses electrons. Okay, that means that this had to gain electrons, and therefore it gets reduced. So B is our answer for this. Which of these is the oxidizing agent? Okay, well, this is the same level, but a pivot on the same question. So Cu becomes Cu2 plus. That got oxidized. Therefore, it is the Ra, the reducing agent. Whenever you identify one thing as the reducing agent, the other reactant is your oxidizing agent. So Ag is your oxidizing agent. Now, the next question, I've already got it highlighted. Which is the reducing agent? Well, zinc, because zinc goes from Zn to Zn2 plus, so it gets oxidized, therefore it is the reducing agent. Okay, now this next page has a link for where you can take these different metals and put them in different solutions and find out how they react in the presence of different ions. Because what you have happen is different metals will give off electrons and other ions will accept those electrons. Now, that's pretty much the important part about this. What I want you to really be able to do and really take home and really think about is I want you to be able to identify when something is getting oxidized and when something is getting reduced. I want you to be able to identify when something is oxidized, it is the reducing agent. That's maybe the most important part about oxidation or reduction. It's the transfer of electrons. One thing gets oxidized, another thing gets reduced. The thing that gets oxidized is the reducing agent. The thing that gets reduced is the oxidizing agent. That's a little bit, well, that's not a little bit. That's definitely confusing, but it's something that you can wrap your minds around because you're smart kids. You know how to do this. You're smart folks. You know how to do this. If anything comes up, let me know. We'll talk about this a little bit during our review on Thursday. Other than that, though, have a good one and get ready for the final. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.